Good morning, this is Dennis Miracle. Today I am making the 5 by 7 inch, what I'm calling the triangle bag. What you're going to need is 4 pieces of fabric cut 6 inches by 8 inches. You're going to need 1 zipper. That's, I think this one's 12 inches long, but it doesn't have to be that long. It needs to be at least probably 9 inches long. And you need, this is optional, I used a piece of webbing, 3/4 inch webbing, and a little lobster hook to add on, but that's optional. And of course I used my button maker to make this pretty button out of the same fabric, which is also optional. But what you need to do, and you also need a few scraps of batting or some other material to add, where I'll show you in a moment. And so I took the 2 front pieces, and they're 8 by 6, and I just folded them over on the long side. And so I've got both of those. That's going to be the front right there with the zipper in between. We'll put the zipper in first. And you need to take a piece of batting, or really anything that, a piece of old washcloth or towel or whatever, and stick it in here, make it about, I guess 2 inches wide, and maybe come down to possibly here. So about that big, maybe 5 inches or so, 6 inches. And that'll give a little more stability to the bag. And then for the, let me put this here. Your first step will draw out the lines to where you place your zipper. The second step will indeed sew the zipper down, and I always put the head of the zipper, at least on my machine, up at the top. And so then you add these pieces, and there's a step for each of these to go on, and you pull them up, not quite to where the zipper coils are at, but just a little bit away from them, and sew those down. And then for your back of this little zipper pouch, you're going to place your exterior fabric right side down. Well, before you do that, you're going to add your little strap, little pull thing right here, and just make sure that it faces inward, because when you turn it out, it'll face the proper way. But anyhow, do that and pull your zipper in before you do this next step, which this next step is putting the back piece. This will be the exterior back piece covering the design here. And then I put a piece of batting right down here to cover this area, and then just any piece of material will do for the interior. This is going to be in the inside, so I didn't have that much of the pretty fabric here, so I just had some of these little pieces of scraps. It's also, all of these are cut 6 by 8, but I put that, you put that face up. So when you turn the bag out, this will be the front, and then the back will be the same matching fabric, and this piece here will be inside. And anyhow, that's a quick breakdown of how to make this, but I'll show you as I get started here. Righty, let me turn this. Okay, I'm getting my hoop ready, and I'm cheap, and as you probably know from the past, I use frequently paper towels. So this is these those paper towels that are like half size, that you can tear off just one that's, that big. I've got two of them side that are, I tore off as just one, but they stayed together here. I think the line is right here where they come apart. So I put that in my hoop. I'm going to take and use my cutter here and just get rid of this excess part. So my hoop is ready to go in the machine, and it will sew the area to place the zipper. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I have done the first, trying to get this out of here. I've done the first piece, which was the zipper, showing where to place the zipper between. And since unfortunately I'm using the light pink, it did not come out well at all. But you can see there's a row of stitches here and a row of stitches right here. So take your zipper, and these zippers are a little weird because they are number 3 zippers supposedly, but they are a number 3 zipper should be 1 inch across, but these are a little bit less than 1 inch. They open and close just fine. I got them off Temu, and I've had no problems with Temu zippers, but they're just not quite 1 inch, so I hope it will, well, I know from doing this previously with one, it will sew these down, but it's going to be close to the edge. Anyhow, I'll tape this down, and I will stick it back in the machine, and it will sew the zipper down, so I'll be right back. Okay, you see that I have taped it down, and I have this step 2 sewed the zipper down, so, and the head is up here, of course, and the zipper is face up, I should say, because I know somebody asked me to put the zipper face up or face down, and you, at least in everything I've ever done, it's always face up, with a little pull doodad here on the top side. Anyhow, the next thing to do is, you can see on the machine, it's going to be sewing down the left hand piece, and so I've got the 2 pieces laid out here. This is the left hand piece, and I'm going to open it up. As I said, I had pressed these previously, and I've cut some batting. I'm going to stick that batting right in here like that. Fold that back over nicely, and then I'm going to place this on the machine, and I'm going to, this is why I don't make videos anymore, I need extra hands. Place the piece of fabric so that it will cover up. You can see where the stitch line is at here, so make sure you've got that covered up, and place the fabric not on top of the coils, but just a little bit away from the coils. And this is not a good zipper to be showing this, because these are somehow I bought invisible zippers, which it doesn't really matter, but they're you can't see them very well. The coils are right here, and anyhow, put this first piece of fabric with the batting or whatever else you choose to put in there in between, and so you see you've got the top part, the batting in the middle, and then the back part. This is all one piece of fabric, just folded in 2. Anyhow, I'm going to do this next step, which is going to sew this side down. So hold on, I'll be right back. All right, you can see that this has been stitched down, and also, like with this fabric, there is an up and a down, so you need to be careful to get the orientation of it correct when you're putting this piece of fabric and this one that'll be over here when you're placing that on top of the zipper. So this is the correct orientation, at least it appears to me to be, because the butterfly right here is not upside down. So anyhow, I have sewn this down with the batting in between, and the next step, step 4, will be the pretty quilting that it will do right here. So I'll have the machine do that, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, so you can see that the quilting has been done on this piece on the left. Now I've taken the piece for the right, and this is the appropriate, obviously, orientation, and I've stuck my piece of batting in there. And I'm going to place it now on the right hand side, and it'll sew this down first, and then the next step will be the quilting as I just did on the left side. So I'll do those next 2 parts, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, you see that both of the pieces have now been sewn down and quilted. So what I'm going to do now is turn the hoop over, and I'm going to take, and since this is paper towel, it's going to make it very easy, but I'm going to take and poke a little area right here to get it started, like that. Sorry, I'm moving the camera. And I'm going to just take and, if you'll just do it like this, works better with, well, okay, how much more? About another inch. Okay. Alright. Okay. And I tore that, and there, now it shows your zipper, and there's a little straggly pieces of paper towel which you may want to cut off, but at least I find that easier than having to use some kind of embroidery scissors or something to remove regular stabilizer. You can just do it with your fingernail. But that's me. You do what makes you comfortable, obviously. And you probably already noticed that I use my regular sewing foot. This is a Brother Luminaire 3. It doesn't matter whether you use the embroidery foot or the sewing foot. You don't have to stick, or at least I found on my machines, I didn't have to stick on the embroidery foot to do embroidery, because when this machine sews and embroiders, and when I want to sew, I don't have to fool around with that embroidery with this thing here. So anyhow, I use the regular sewing foot all the time. I've got the wide plate, not the single stitch plate. I've got the zigzag plate on, and I've got the zigzag presser foot on. So anyhow, that's just my thoughts. Take it for what it's worth, which is nothing, but that's what works for me, and I've had no problems. But I'm just talking about this one particular machine, but all brothers should be, I would think, the same. So anyhow, that's my 2 cents of nothing. So now we've got that off. We've got the paper off the back of the, Lord, please don't tell me I did this wrong. I've got the back of the paper off, and now I'm going to take and, let me see, I'm going to take and pull this. I think I'm going to put this camera down. Oh, wait a minute, it's going nice and easy. Okay, so I've got this pulled down, and I make sure that I'm way away from where it's going to stitch closed, so it doesn't hit this little puller thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, here's my little pull thing. I just had my serger on last night, and I just serged the top of it closed. I usually sew it, but just so it doesn't come apart. But what I'm going to do is take this and center it here on this zipper and put a portion of it outside of the stitch line right here, and just, like I say, center it over the zipper. And I'm going to take and when I go off, well, let me see if I can do it now. Well, I can't do it it'll move, but I'm going to put a piece of tape right up here where it's not going to sew over it, and then I'm going to stick that in the machine, and it's just going to sew one row of stitches right through here to hold this thing down. So I'll do that and be right back. Okay, I've sewn that piece down. You can see the pink. I do a stem stitch, which goes kind of like a zigzag stitch and makes that nice and secure there. And I'm going to take also this piece of tape on my finger, and I'm going to put it over this piece of metal so it doesn't somehow, once or twice I've had this metal go up here and get under the presser foot, and as you can imagine, that was not a good thing. So now it's time to do the last step, which is step 8. I'm going to take my fabric here. This is the one that's going to be, okay, that's the appropriate way for it to sit. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take off this what's going to be the interior lining here, and I'm going to put a piece of batting roughly the size of this, 8 by 6, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've put a piece of batting here, and the corner was chopped off, but I think it'll be fine. And then I'm going to place this, what's going to be inside, I'm going to place this right over here. And I may not be able to do this. There we are. So you've got, this is going to be face down, covering the zipper area on what's already in the hoop, and then this is going to be face up. And let me stick that on top of, well, I'll just do that right now. Let's stick this right here and make sure it's covered on all sides. Yes, it is. Okay, now it's ready to sew the whole thing together. So let me do that, and I'll show you the result in a moment. All right, now as you can see, the stitching is completed, and boy, that was close over there, but it's still fine. And I did a bean stitch. I had the program, I programmed it to do a bean stitch around this to give it extra, a little bit of help in making it stronger. So I'm going to take, the embroidery is done. That was step 8 of 8, and I'm going to take this off the machine and out of the hoop, and I'm going to take and cut about a little more than a 1/4 inch away from the seam line, and then I'm going to turn this out through the zipper that we left, that we had opened earlier, and it'll be ready to go. I'm making it for a friend I've known for many years, sweetest lady in Tennessee. And so let me do that, and I'll show you what it looks like in just a moment. Okay, I just wanted to show you what it looked like before I turned it out, and I've cut it now, and this is going to be the inside, and this is going to be inside. So I leave, I just leave this on. It's going to be okay. You're not going to think about it when you open this up. But anyhow, let me turn it out, and I'll be right back. Alright, I have turned it right side out, and as you can see with it open, you can see that pretty piece of fabric. And if you turn this part back, yes, you can see that the paper towel, which was my stabilizer, what I used as stabilizer, but you would see whatever it is you use as stabilizer, even if you didn't use paper towels. But anyhow, so this is how it looks on the back, and Got your little place to put your keys, attach your keys, and I'm going to close it up. I don't think I can do it with one hand, but I'm going to close this up and take it over to the iron and give it a nice press so it'll look good. And that's the end of the story. So I hope you make some of these, and they're simple, they're fast, takes a little material, and they're a nice little gift to give to, maybe, well, I don't know, anyone you know, frankly. But so that's it. I appreciate it, and have a good day. Bye-bye.